Hello, and welcome to the C3 podcast, Code Conscious Conversations. I'm Dr. Lisa Piper here with Wendy Cohn-Osborne, and we are the founders of Code Health. Hi, everyone. We are here today with Dr. Lauren Leiva, the founder and owner of the ExerScience Center, but more importantly, known as the Queen of Biohacking. Welcome, Lauren, to our show.
Thank you guys for having me, Code Queens. I love to see you ladies together always. You guys are just so amazing. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So speaking of queens, you are the biohacking queen. And I just want to start the podcast by talking about how we met. So we were at Changing Life and Destiny in Plano, Texas last year, and someone said to us, "You girls have to meet Dr. Lauren Leiva. She's amazing. She's a physical therapist. She's got a great center." And we said, okay, fantastic. This woman sounds awesome. But little did we know, later on that night, as we were sitting at our table, we see someone in the middle of the dance floor twerking like no one's business. And we're watching and we're thinking to ourselves, oh, this girl, we could be friends with her.
We could be friends.
Totally, right? And we're just sitting there, we're like, who is this girl? And sure enough, we come to find out that it's you. And then, right? And first of all, this woman can twerk. Second of all, right? What was it?
And second of all, she's brilliant.
Brilliant. So beauty, body, everything that goes along with it. So we're watching this happen, and then we finally meet each other and come to find out we're in Plano, Texas, and we live like a mile and a half away from each other here in Land O'Lakes, Florida. So through that first interaction, we've actually gotten to know you very well. We have become good friends, and we absolutely love having people that we know on a personal level because it just makes the podcast so much fun. So we're so excited to talk to you and talk about everything that you're doing.
I love that you mentioned all of that because it's why I love you guys. You guys are truly queens and we recognize one another. You know, we collaborate at the top. It's competitive at the bottom. And it's just exactly why I think that like-minded individuals really connect the way that we do instantly. It's almost like love at first sight. So again, I'm glad that you recognize all of those things in me because there's so many times where you can show one part of yourself, but not the other. And I was talking this morning about how being authentic is sometimes the hardest thing to do throughout all different situations, whether you're dropping your kid off at private school or you're at a biohacking conference or you're at a medical conference or you're at the Biohack Yourself runway. No matter where you are, it's like, you know, to be yourself for me is really most important because if I shift from that, to me, that frequency makes me sick inside, which anybody who knows my story knows I never want to go in that direction. So that authentic feeling. And I also wanted to say today is Halloween and I had to keep my son home to be even more authentic because they were serving like Hawaiian punch and Sprite and like candy. And I'm like, why? There's so many better ways to do this. It's better to keep him home and stick to our practices and keep that great frequency. So I also love Code Health. I brought it into my clinic. You know, you guys, frequency is the future of medicine. So of course we're going to connect. You guys have all of those qualities that you mentioned in me. I see it in you.
So let's talk about that for a minute. You are everywhere. Everything that you do, you're totally putting yourself out there. We love your authenticity. We love your spirit and the fact that we live close and you have this ExerScience Center. So for the people that are new, that don't know who you are and our new listeners, tell us about the ExerScience Center and who your ideal client is. What do you do there? And tell us more.
So ExerScience was brought about because I love science so much and I love exercise. When I went to school, I became a yoga instructor. And just growing up as an ice skater, of course, I always had to do training. So fitness was very important to me. And just like dancing, if you're not moving or you're not dancing, and even I work with people who have had paralysis, they can't move, but we move through the mind. Movement is life. So that's how my business was created. And science is very objective. I grew up and I used to have a little bit of a stutter, and I was not a fan of English classes or writing. And I just loved how science was as a matter of fact, you know, and you didn't have to talk about it if you knew what you were talking about. Nonverbal communication. You speak a different way when you're in that community, you know, so it's an easier way to talk, because a lot of people will say certain people that have certain degrees might be weird or they talk funny, but I think it's a part of our brain that we're exercising so much, and then that verbal part of the creative part. However, now I'm really happy to work on that with Brain Tap and really expand my mind, so not limit myself. I'm going to grab water. The perfect patient is really anybody. I see people 6 days old to 104 years old. I see people who have had stroke, paralysis. I have a lot of patients who have MS, CP. I take them out of a wheelchair into a walker, into walking sticks, and stability brings mobility. Tools to keep you stronger don't weaken you. So that's something that I work with my patients with their mind. And I also, because I've worked with the mind so well, and I brought people who were told they might not be here anymore to a place where they've had optimized, you know, performance. I get, you know, Olympians and NFL athletes and UFC fighters and MMA fighters. So I really see anybody, and I don't limit people to just getting them out of pain. And pain is actually an output of the brain. So I usually switch the way people think about pain as well to keep them more body aware. At my center, we are a physical therapy clinic. I have my doctorate in physical therapy. I'm a master dry needler. I do body work, joint mobilization. I joke with chiropractors what they do to the spine, I do to the whole body, you know, arms, legs, feet, hands, everything, spine. Also personal training, nutrition. We outsource IV therapy. We have IV day when people come in, and we do blood work where they can order online. There's so much direct access available now. People can order your products from a link in my social media. You know, they just have to go to the link in my bio, and they have access to Brain Tap, to blood work, to Code Health, and these things should be readily accessible. So my goal is to get people doing these things on their own. You know, I just provide what I do, and if it's something that resonates with them, it's available, most often direct access these days. And if it's not, I have the resource, which you guys know through the Bio Royale group, is to refer to somebody else. So whether it's a surgeon or a chiropractor, acupuncturist, you know, whatever it might be.
You know, talk about authenticity. We'll talk about the Bio Royale group in a little bit, but I want to just hone in on something, because when you talk about authenticity, it also becomes very inspirational, right? When you are authentic to yourself and you are vulnerable, and then you show everyone what you've been through, it allows people to feel that they can then be authentic with you. And I think that's what you do. And if it's okay, would you share with us a little bit about your story and your journey so that the listeners can understand how you came really from a very difficult, dark place to where you are today?
And that really is important, because a lot of the patients that I see that might come in and they might walk a different way because of a diagnosis they might have had. They say, I've seen you dance online and I've seen you share your story, and I never thought that anybody could ever teach me how to dance, or, you know, because of the way that I move, but I thought maybe you could teach me. So I've even had patients who've had conditions, and they come to me to teach them how to dance, and they're willing to pay me physical therapy rates for that, which is why I opened my yoga studio, because I want this stuff to be accessible to all. I'm hiring as well.
Hey, wait, I just want to say one thing, because Lisa constantly uses the terminology, and it's not even a big word, but she just says, I squirrel a lot. And I'm just going to put it out there on the record that you are the number one squirreler, Laura, however you say it.
I am.
I know. And I love it. I love it because I actually feel so like grounded when I'm with you and I'm watching you do all of these things. So I love that, you know, we get to see each other so much because yes.
I gotta bring it back. Like I brought it back. I'm like, okay.
You totally bring it back.
You bring it back.
Wendy does as well. Mm-hmm. I do.
And
I bring it right back.
The funny part is, before I even go there, I'm like, I'm going to go there. And then I might go there, like losing your keys and putting it there. But I digress.
Exactly. If I do that, I forget where my keys are.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, I knew I was going to lose it if I put it there. I knew I was going to lose it if I went there. Through different journeys, I've actually been telling this story a lot sooner in life. I have often, through many of my presentations, started at, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at 13 years old. Through not having good insurance, I would go to the health clinic. Most doctors, I would have maybe 10 a year, or like, you know, I would never have the same doctors. I was on prednisone for way too long, and everywhere I went would just copy the last person's orders because they knew they wouldn't be there long when you have Medicaid and the places I would go to. So I was getting sicker along the way instead of having proper health care or nutrition and all this stuff I know. So from 13 till I was 20, I got really, really sick. I was hospitalized almost 9 months. I was intubated, and this is also while I was pregnant. And this is like a huge part of my story because I chose not to have an abortion, even though they told me I was going to die. I had an internal awareness and sense that not only would I be okay, but my son was going to be amazing and a leader of tomorrow. You know, I learned in school are supposed to attend to you, you know, and check on you and at least move your position every 2 hours so you don't get pressure ulcers, and do hygiene to brush your teeth and brush your hair. But a lot of that stuff didn't happen to me, and it was very rough. I deteriorated in front of everybody, and it was really scary. But again, holding my authenticity throughout all of that, I had my son. He was healthy. They had him 2 months in the ICU, but now he's strong. He's amazing. He's in the other room. He's going to be Aang or Fishy today for Halloween. You know, I'm going to go trick-or-treating with him. My other son was born early by 2 months, and when he was born is when I dropped out of, you know, medical school, and I wanted to be a physical therapist. My mom also had a stroke and lung cancer. So I was trying to help people, but my family was home getting sicker, and I thought, I need to be the change I want to see. So I left school to help my mom and my son, and that's where I found the love of physical therapy, because I took my son to physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. They said he wouldn't walk, he wouldn't talk, he wouldn't do all these things. And that's why I went down that path, because after applying the home programs that I had to do 1 million times a day because he was a child, I wanted to be a physical therapist. So I went back to school. I got my doctorate in physical therapy. And anybody who has a doctorate knows you have to have continuing education. So I just went down all the most awesome paths and got the best certifications for dry needling. And I now create my own certifications for like a functional biohacking practitioner. I am now on a faculty member with BrainTap, and I'm also doing advising for me screens. So I'm really excited where the path has taken me, truly from pain to purpose.
And you also have some other things going on. You have the Queen's Corner in Biohacker magazine, and you're putting together this incredible book about the queens of biohacking. It's a collaboration. So what's inspiring you to bring together all of these people, and when will it come out?
It was at the Dave Asprey conference. There was just so many people there, and we were in a circle. It was like the goddess circle. And it felt so beautiful. And I remember they're like, we're going to make a WhatsApp group. We're going to make a WhatsApp group. And then I thought, oh, with a couple other people, why don't we start a WhatsApp group and not just, goddesses, but like all the biohackers, and make it even bigger. And not bigger, nothing's bigger or smaller, but just more open to everyone. And that's why anybody who's in the Biocrown Society sees the little sections keep growing. I mean, I was just asked to start a singles group. So we have the Royal Court and we have the Bio Royale. So Bio Royale is for speakers, scientists. It's just a great place to expand, not just networking, but really expand your ideas and inventions, because you're bouncing ideas off like-minded individuals. And then we have the Biocrown Society, which could be your neighbor, it could be a cashier, it could be your cousin, anybody who says, you know what, I can't go to sleep at night. It's like, hey, maybe check out the code health drops, and when you add them in this group and you have people's testimony and everybody's like, yeah, these are amazing, I have them in my clinic. I think it's a great, trustworthy place because nobody's being paid to be in the group. I'm not being paid to host the group. I don't intend on that where it goes. And that's even why we have the Bio Royal meetups where there's no cost and we get to network. The queens are important to me because I've never had like a physical sister that was a biological one. I've had brothers, I have all sons, and I've always been around men. And I think in the medical world and in physical therapy and doing what I do, I'm around a lot of men all the time. So I want to balance that energy. And I love to be around women. I love to be around queens, especially. So, and there's also a whole group of women that are like, queen, who do you think you are, right? And guess what? It's like sandpaper, baby. Like, you're not meant to be in the group, and it's not personal. It's just a vibration, like magnets. We all came together, and they usually say like-minded repel, but like we are waves. We're not magnets. So our amplitude is just increasing the more of us that are together. In the Queens group, we're all amplifying our vibration together. And that's why all of the women in the group are there. And after speaking with you and specific women in the group, I'm like, you have a lot to share with the world. And it's not just the products you have. It's like, how did you and Lisa meet? Everything is very intentional in how we create it. We're not just here to make money, because all of us had jobs before what we're doing, and I now have 6 jobs. It's like we're actually creating more work by following our passion. So once we got in this group, all these amazing women, I knew we had to put our stories together and share it with the world. It was so much more than just our products or our business. It's what were the struggles we went through that brought us into this path. I was neglected in the hospital. I had to see seniors get neglected at skilled nursing facilities. I had to rehab my son, and all of those things built who I was. How you met Wendy, how you guys met each other, it's built your story. And, exactly everything that happened was how code was built. So just like with the other women in the group, this is what brought my passion to say, you know what, let's all write a chapter and contribute. I have an internship at my office. So these young girls, when they hear maybe one of our stories or just mine, they're like, the world needs to know. So now they are going to know. I am hoping it is coming out in March. I'm going to get on a couple more queens crowns. I'm not going to take their crown, but I just might put them in the second book if they don't get their butts together. So something about leading a group is directing sometimes, because we're all queens and I respect all of you. And that's why I love you guys. So whoever's in it's going to be in it, and we're going to have many more. I know it's going to grow to something so much more.
It's funny, with our book and our chapter, Lisa is very goal-oriented. So when we were given the task to have the due date, whatever it was, August 1st, as soon as we got off the phone with all of you, Lisa, I think she had her chapter done like in 5 hours. She was done. She's like, I just want you to let you know, I'm going to send you my chapter and just take a look at it. And when is yours going to be done? And I'm like, what? So I took my time with it. I really had to think, what you gave us was a true task to really delve deep inside our own personal journeys of what brought us to where we are. And I thank you for that, because it really opened up a whole other kind of line of thinking for myself. Anyway, every couple of days I'd get nudged by Lisa, and I promised her I would be done. And I was. So we're glad that you're not taking our crowns away, because I think we were one of the first to hand it in. Right?
You were one of the first.
I will.
You were the first.
We were the first? Oh, look at that, Lisa.
I have enough. I did want to have more. So there are a couple more women I have met throughout the past conferences that have that Dr. Lisa and Wendy energy. So I'm like, hey, if you can get it in, get it in. And if not, it's okay to be in the next one. Everything I think we've learned, especially on our journeys, whatever happens, whatever sticks is awesome. Whatever doesn't stick might stick later. It's just really not meant to be.
No.
I'm going to circle it back around a little bit, because, a lot of this Code Conscious Conversations is really about how we can teach people to optimize their health. And one of the things that we always ask everyone is, what do you do on a daily basis to optimize your health as a biohacker, as a mom, as a wife? And how does that flow into your family and your pets and, whatever it is that you do personally on a daily basis, your daily routine? Would you mind sharing that with us?
There's a couple of things I think they call non-negotiables at the last conference I was. I loved how they said you have some non-negotiables. So my non-negotiables are standing outside barefoot in the sunrise and sunset. The sun has all the rays, all the colors is at a special frequency. I've added in methylene blue eye drops that are specially formulated. Again, you can find those on my bio. And I do those usually twice a day. I've been doing those for about 2 months, but my eyes feel amazing. Grounding through my feet. And I was talking about earlier having space as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a business owner. And even if you're not a business owner, you work for somebody, just constantly being surrounded by people. I'm a group fitness instructor. So it's important to be by yourself and have alone time and ground. It's important to have quiet time to hear, your subconscious thoughts and what's going on when there's no inputs. So you can clear the space. Your thoughts today build your world tomorrow. And the world I want to build is beautiful. So having that alone time is a non-negotiable. Heat is very important to me. Going in the sauna. I used to have a colostomy bag. I've had lots of surgeries. And it wasn't until the pandemic that I realized I needed a sauna. And it sounds spoiled, but I would go to the gym all the time. I'd go in the sauna every day. And when they were shut down, my body just went back into a spider. And what I do love about that is a lot of my patients say, when am I going to heal, Doc? And I say, it's a lifelong journey, babe, or whoever you are. It's like, if I don't go in the heat, my body wants to curl up. If I don't go in the sun and I don't center myself, I want to scream. I'm not perfect. I am a spiritual being, but I have a human body. I have to maintain it just like a car. So the alone time, the sauna time, the sun. I do yoga, so moving my body is very important. That's why I teach yoga. I might as well teach yoga if I do yoga. And I open the yoga studio. So I definitely do yoga. I would say almost every day, just to move my body. And if not, if you see me at the conference, I'm never sitting down. I'm always going through the aisles. Anybody who knows me knows I keep moving. And one, it's healthy. Two, I do it because my body feels sometimes I receive not pain, but stiffness and like stasis, where those things just get stuck and stop. So I love to keep moving. Everybody goes, where does this energy come from? So again, from pain to purpose. I feel like it's my superpower that I have all this energy and my body wants to keep moving.
You know, it's everything is just a work in progress. And I love that even though this is what you teach, you also preach that you're not perfect either. We're all not perfect, and we just need to be better versions of ourselves. So with all of the different technologies that you have in your ExerScience Center, with just the natural ability to utilize the earth and the sun in combination, it's just a beautiful way to live. And of course, you know, your energy. One last thing before we go, I would love to talk about your grand opening at your ExerScience Center and the Zen Yoga Studio. This is very exciting. I know you've been working on it for a long time. So just tell us about that, please.
Originally, I wanted to do it November. I wanted to have all of my favorite people there, but we decided to move it to January because 1, that's my 10-year anniversary, and 2, it's going to be 10 times better because not only is it going to be the grand opening, but I'm going to have a lot of support from people in a very different way. So instead of just a grand opening, we're there's going to be businesses in parking spot. You know, we're going to share other businesses as well. So it's almost going to be like a grand opening, a health fair, like a huge thing. So I'm really excited about when anything breaks, it's your mindset that really determines how it's built. So it can actually crumble or it can build stronger, you know? And I am consistently focused on a positive outlook. So that's also a non-negotiable. If I'm around negative Nancy's, I can't be there. If I'm around people that are like, I don't know how you do what you do, or how does your husband let you go out? How could you have the life that you have? It's okay to have, we all have friends like that, but at the same time, not me anymore.
I know it comes with maturity also, though, right? Where then you just get to a place in your life where you just understand first and foremost yourself. And again, it goes back to authenticity. And if you are true to yourself, then you can be free to be who you want to be and express who you want to be. And then those that are like-minded will gravitate towards you. And it's okay if people are different, and it's okay if people don't want to be with you. And I don't mean you, just you in general. But it's very, very important. And I think it just comes also with age. So we're aging gracefully, and we're aging in a way that we're able to be better versions of ourselves. You learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing you said earlier is that you have to take care of your body like it's a car, right? It's your vehicle that your spiritual self gets to experience this physical world. And it's also about your ability to shift gears and be able to drive that car instead of that car driving you. And so when things crumble and when things don't go the way that you want, then you shift gears, you take another turn, you shift your perspective, you hold space to let go of what doesn't serve you and manifest and bring in the things that do and drive that car the way you want to go. And that's what we see. You have that ability to do that. We like to think we have the ability to do that as well.
You too. I mean, I always like to tell people our bodies are like TVs, right? And because they don't understand maybe quantum healing or frequency or how do things work. But just like changing the channel, it's still the same TV. You just change the channel. So that's like upgrading your mind or taking the code, drops, whether it's for sleep or for antiviral. How's it work? You're just changing the channel, the frequency that's going on in the body. You are still the same TV. So again, the things that you resist persist. And I do believe since my mother's death, I had to learn to stop being angry because it's only going to persist. And I had to really focus on what I wish to persist, which is abundance for all, healing, world peace. And if anybody wants to come to my center, I'm in Lutz, Florida. They can call me at 803-7070. They can find me on Instagram or website, queenofbiohacking.com, the ExerScienceCenter.com. In regards to my pets, biohackyourpet.com, and so many more. So it keeps rolling. And if you want to be a part of the BioCrown Society, you are totally welcome. If you identify as a queen, we might screen you and then we'll let you in.
Thank you, Lauren. We appreciate you being on our show today, and we look forward to seeing all these different events and activities that you have going on.
Yes, we'll see you in Vegas at the
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
4M on the runway.
Yeah, A4M. That's one last thing that we just can talk about real quickly. The A4M Longevity Fest is in coordination with the Biohack Yourself Media red carpet, green carpet event. And Biohack Yourself is going to be premiering on December 16th on Amazon Prime. It is Teresa and Anthony Lolly Productions, the top 100 plus people in the biohacking world. You are included, Dr. Lauren Leiva, in that documentary. And we are so happy that we're going to be there with you to honor all of you for that. So we're excited about it.
It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. I love you guys.
We love you
Love
too.
you too. Thanks for listening to the C3 podcast. Find past episodes and subscribe on our website, codehealthshop.com, or Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube.
The Code Girls appreciate discussing conscious living with inspiring guests who make a difference.
Remember, conscious living starts with conscious conversations. Until next time, be intentional, stay inspired, practice gratitude, be well, and feel the drop.